My mom used to come and watch me every day. She'd come and she'd sit in the gallery over there, never knowing that 35 years later, her son would ultimately serve in Congress. Frankly, had you asked me 1 year ago today, I would have told you that I would not expect to be serving here. However, it was 1 year ago today that my mom died. It was 5 days after that President Trump asked me to run. And so today, as I mourn my mother on the 1-year anniversary of her death, I think of all of the things that I can do to make sure that I make her proud and how I serve her every day, because as I often say to my constituents, I won't let you down because I'm not going to let her down. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Kneels. For what purpose does the gentleman from New York seek recognition?
I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize the life and service of Syracuse Police Officer Wally Howard, Jr. Officer Howard was a son of Syracuse, a Henniger graduate, a Syracuse University student, and a respected member of the Syracuse Police Department. He dedicated his life to protecting our community, serving with distinction on the Central New York DEA Task Force. On October 30th, 1990, during an undercover narcotics investigation, Officer Howard was ambushed and killed in the line of duty. His death marked the first line of duty death for a Syracuse officer since
this tragic loss. Remember the name, the face of Irina Zarutska, and hope that she gets justice from the prosecution of this animal currently in court. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor a legend in Arlington, Texas that passed away. The former mayor of Arlington, Elsie Odom. He was 96 years old. Mayor Odom was a trailblazer in every sense of the word, born in East Texas and moved to Arlington and made his mark in the city very quickly. His journey is a testament to determination and dignity and faith. He was an elected official in Arlington for 14 years and very active in the Mount Olive Baptist Church in Arlington, Texas, where him and his wife Ruby of 78 years spent most of their time worshiping. He was very instrumental in making sure that we kept General Motors in Arlington. We almost lost the plant back in the 90s, and it was Elsie's leadership that helped us keep the plant, and he kept the Texas Rangers baseball club there as well. And he talked about bringing the Olympics to Arlington, and people didn't believe it could happen. but then it got really serious recognition, and we were on the short list. This was an incredible man, and his daughter, who's on the city council, Barbara Odom Wesley, said that he taught others that, quote, service is the price you pay for the space you occupy. And I have to tell you, there are so many things that I can say great about Mayor Odom, but this man absolutely loved his family. His grandkids called him Grandee, and him and his wife of 78 years had one of the most beautiful relationships in all of the Dallas-Fort Worth, Arlington area. Mr. Speaker, I yield back my time.
The gentleman yields. For what purpose does the gentleman from Wisconsin seek recognition?
I'd like to ask unanimous consent to speak for 1 minute, to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
It's hard to believe that not even 7 weeks have gone by since Charlie Kirk was savagely murdered in Utah. I am, quite frankly, a little bit disappointed the degree to which I do not feel that this body is doing enough to memorialize this great man's short life. I myself am reading books by Charlie Kirk to familiarize myself what drove him to be such an active force in American civil life. I hope that the rest of this body familiarizes himself with the books and familiarizes himself why so many members on the left could not contain themselves, apparently even horrifically with glee, that Charlie Kirk was shot. So I ask particularly my Republican colleagues to familiarize himself with his writings and let his writings inspire us for the next 13 and a half months of this term so that we can begin to accomplish all the wonderful things he wanted us to accomplish and in which he was so eloquent in pointing out we were failing to accomplish them. Thank you.
Gentleman yields. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Oregon seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
All right. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to highlight the growing mental health care crisis in rural America. Nearly 1 in 5 adults lives with a mental illness, yet rural communities lack the providers, facilities, and resources to meet their needs. In my own district, an entire county has just 1 child and adolescent psychiatrist. For families seeking timely, specialized care, that's not just an inconvenience. It's a barrier that can mean the difference between preventative help and a crisis. Communities across the country face the same impossible math: too many needs and too few providers. That's why I've introduced legislation to support clinicians who commit to practicing in rural areas and to expand telemental health services tailored to farmers, fishers, and foresters, the people who power our rural economies. Access to quality care should not depend on your zip code. I urge my colleagues to join me in ensuring rural Americans are no longer overlooked or underserved. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields. Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 3rd, 2025, the gentlewoman from Hawaii, Ms. Takuda, is recognized until 10 p.m. as the designee of the minority leader. Ms. Takuda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend the remarks and submit extraneous material into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we celebrate National Rural Health Day here on the House floor, standing shoulder to shoulder with our colleagues in the Bipartisan Rural Health Caucus, and I'm very humbled and honored to be here with my friend and fellow co-chair, Representative Diana Harshbarger. A big mahalo, as we've just heard from members on both sides of the aisle who took to the floor tonight to raise up the needs, the challenges, the hopes, and the dreams for health care in rural America. Mr. Speaker, at this time, I'd like to yield to the gentlewoman from Tennessee such time as she may consume.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to highlight National Rural Health Month and to honor the men and women who keep health care alive in America's small towns and rural communities. As co-chair of the Congressional Bipartisan Rural Health Caucus, I'm proud to join my colleagues in leading an effort to ensure the millions of Americans who live in rural areas, including the hardworking people of Tennessee's 1st District, receive the same quality of care as anyone else in the nation. In Northeast Tennessee, that rural health care is it's a lifeline to people, especially who live in remote areas and are limited or have no mode of transportation, and they depend on a nurse, say, to drive during the night and before dawn to check on a patient, or the pharmacist who knows every family by name and stretches every dollar to keep medicine affordable. It's the doctor who stays late to see one more patient because there's no one else to take the next shift. These are the people who form the backbone of our rural health care communities, and they deserve a system that works as hard for them as they do for us. But the truth is, rural health care has always faced an uphill battle. When a rural hospital shuts down, it doesn't just take away health care, it takes away jobs and stability and peace of mind. And it means longer drives for emergency care, fewer options for expectant mothers, and limited access for seniors and veterans who depend on those services the most. And the systems that's supposed to support them is too often buried in bureaucracy. Pharmacy benefit managers are manipulating drug prices, restricting choices, and squeezing out small-town pharmacies that are fighting just to survive. These PBMs see a patient, but they control what medicines people can get and at what cost. That's wrong. And I've been proud to lead bipartisan legislation to bring transparency, accountability, and fairness to that system, because patients and pharmacists alike deserve better. I've made it my mission to champion these policies that put people, not politics, first. And under President Trump's leadership, we signed the Working Families Tax Cuts into law this year. And this critical legislation included the single largest investment in rural health care in history. That's $50 billion for a rural health care transformation fund to reinvest federal savings directly into the communities that need it most, expanding telehealth and recruiting and retaining rural health care workers. We're committed to ensuring telehealth remains an option for those living in rural communities. Telehealth provides expanded access to specialists, closes the distance between patients and providers, and gives families faster, more reliable care. And I have legislation, the Rural Physician Workforce Production Act, that would help bring more doctors to rural communities by giving rural hospitals the resources they need to train and retrain more physicians. I fought to strengthen our nation's drug supply chain by supporting domestic pharmaceutical manufacturing, including facilities like U.S. Antibiotics in Bristol, Tennessee, where we're proving that these life-saving antibiotics can and should be made right here in the United States and not halfway around the world. Mr. Speaker, these aren't abstract policy debates. They're about real people in real places. They're about the mom who drives an hour to find a pediatric specialist. They're about the veteran who can't get his prescription filled because his local pharmacy closed. They're about the nurse who works back-to-back shifts because there aren't enough hands to go around. And those stories are what drive my work every single day. And that's why I've joined my co-chair, Representative Takuda, in introducing a resolution to recognize November 20th, 2025 as National Rural Health Day. This resolution recognizes the challenges we face, but more importantly, it affirms our commitment to solving them. Thank you, Representative Takuda, for your continued commitment on working together to address the pressing health care issues facing our rural communities. We must fight for a health care system that serves patients, not big insurance companies, that values rural providers, not red tape, and ensures no community, no matter how small or remote, is left behind. To our doctors and our nurses, pharmacists, first responders who keep rural America healthy, we want to thank you. Your work saves lives, your compassion gives hope, and your dedication holds our communities together. As long as I have the privilege to serve the people of Tennessee's 1st District, and as co-chair of the Rural Health Caucus, I will continue that fight. And we are united in our shared mission to strengthen rural health care, protect patient access, and preserve the small-town values that make this nation strong. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, National Rural Health Day is a chance to honor the communities that keep this country moving. The farmers, the teachers, the kapuna, health workers, first responders, small business owners, and families who fuel our local economies and preserve our way of life. It's also a moment for Congress to recognize that rural communities face challenges that are different, not because they are less, but because they are often asked to survive systems that were not built for them. What some call in Washington innovation is really rural America being forced into a constant state of adaptation, forced to make do, to improvise, and stretch thin resources even thinner simply to maintain basic access to health care. Every day in Hawaii, I see mobile clinics reaching isolated communities, school-based health centers stepping up for low-income children, and community health workers bridging cultural and geographic divides. Rural communities everywhere are pioneering models of behavioral health integration and telemedicine, not from a place of creativity or convenience, but necessity and survival. We've proven we can adapt to impossible situations, but extraordinary flexibility cannot and must not replace true investment. Ingenuity cannot replace federal partnership, and resilience cannot continue to be a substitute for resources. We have unfinished business here before us in Congress, but what gives me hope is that we have allies and advocates on both sides of the aisle ready to lead. Across the country, from the volcano-lined communities in my district of Ka'u to the farming slopes of upcountry Maui to the taro patches that I see on Kauai, one truth is crystal clear. Rural America is tired of being resilient. When people call us resilient, what they're really saying is we've been forced to survive hardship. Resilience means we're struggling. Resilience means we're being asked to endure what no community should ever be asked to endure. Our people cannot survive on resiliency alone. Rural America is tired of being tired. Rural America is tired of jumping from one difficult situation to another. Rural America is tired of learning to bend without breaking due to a lack of resources, investment, and support. What rural America needs is an immediate, revolutionary, transformational investment, a historic top-to-bottom overhaul that rebuilds the healthcare system from the inside out. Rural America needs a profound change on a scale that we have not yet seen before. And most importantly, rural America, where we all live, needs a chance to be known as more than just resilient. It deserves a chance to thrive. We cannot rely on Band-Aids and small step forwards, short-term pilot projects, especially when we know families are driving hours or having to even get on a plane for care. Hospitals are closing, behavioral health crises are going untreated, and when the difference between life and death is the distance between one rural town and the nearest city, this is unacceptable. Our people will literally die without bold, immediate systemic action on rural health. Today, we still lack long-term stability for community health centers, for teaching health centers, and the National Health Service Corps. Critical workforce and training programs remain stuck in reauthorization limbo, and bipartisan bills to strengthen EMS capacity, expand telehealth, and improve behavioral health access still await action. We said these issues were urgent last year when we were on the floor. They are even more urgent today. Rural communities cannot afford another year of waiting. That's why we're pushing forward with real bipartisan solutions that simply cannot wait another Congress to be enacted into law. My Rural Health Clinic Modernization Package, including the Rural Behavioral Health Improvement Act, cuts red tape and strengthens reimbursements so rural clinics can stay open. The Health Act protects telehealth access, including audio-only visits for families who lack broadband or live hours away from their care. The Community Teams Act and Strengthening Pathways to Health Professions Act rebuild the rural workforce pipeline, supporting students and providers and keeping scholarships and loan repayment programs accessible and tax-free. And the Rural Health Care Technical Assistance Act gives rural facilities the tools they need to prevent closures and stay financially stable. These are practical, bipartisan solutions built for lasting impact, not another short-term fix to grab a headline. And that is why caucuses like ours, the Bipartisan Rural Health Caucus, and special order hours like the ones that you've seen tonight matter. They remind America and this Congress that despite everything going on in our politics, there is still a path forward. There is still work we can only accomplish together. In closing, I want to thank all of my colleagues who joined us tonight to give their speeches, and to the over 70 members, Republicans and Democrats, who make up our caucus. Your presence sends a clear message. Rural communities matter. To my constituents in Hawaii and rural Americans across this great country, your voices keep us grounded. And to every nurse, doctor, EMT, pharmacist, community health worker, small clinic team, you show us both the urgency and the solutions every single day. This work is not just policy. It's people. It's families. It's the future of rural America. So let's continue to listen, to act, and to deliver together. Because when rural communities thrive, all of America thrives. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And at this time, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The chair lays before the House a communication.
The Honorable, the Speaker, House of Representatives, sir, enclosed is my resignation letter to New Jersey Governor Philip D. Murphy, effective November 20th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. It has been an honor to serve the residents of New Jersey's 11th Congressional District. I look forward to serving them and all residents of New Jersey as governor over the next 4 years. Signed sincerely, Mikey Sherrill, Member of Congress.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Hawaii seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask that the House do now adjourn.
The question is on the motion to adjourn. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Accordingly, the House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning for morning hour debate.